Welcome back to another episode of Sit with Shy. Today I'm joined with Abeba, and she's going to shed some light on motherhood and then also balancing her career as well. So before we delve into the episode, do you want to introduce yourself briefly?
Hi, my name is Abeba, and I'm currently a secondary school teacher in London. And I'm also a mother to a young boy who is 6 years old. I got pregnant at 18, had him at 19, and I started teaching at 21. So I went uni straight, like as my son was 4 months, went straight to uni, and then just kind of, just progressed from there, really.
Brilliant. So thank you for introducing yourself. So as she said, she had her child young, and then she still was able to pursue her dreams of going into teaching. So I think the first thing that I want to ask you is did you always want to teach the subject that you're in now?
To be honest, I was considering English or history.
Yeah.
Even actually, I've considered primary school. So when I first realised I wanted to be a teacher, which was probably around year 9, I had the most experience working alongside my older sister who worked at a primary school. So I used to go along to the after school clubs and work with the younger children. So I was just I could do this. I really like working with young people. But then as I got older, I realised that I think I'll be able to make the most difference in secondary age.
Yeah.
Because I think when I think about why I want to become a teacher, a lot of it stems from my experience in secondary school. I love secondary school. I was influenced by some teachers in secondary school. I didn't see myself, I didn't have any Black history teachers, any Black teachers in English, where those are the subjects that I loved. So I didn't feel represented in those subjects. There's a lot of debate about representation in history and English, especially. So I thought I had a difference in one of those two subjects. But by the time I got to about 18 years old, so A levels, I decided that it's going to be history. I think I was just a bit more passionate about history than English, and also dyslexic. I was just okay, I can't speak. So I definitely I was English language, no. English literature, yes. I was just I can't split both. So I was let's just go for history. So I think that's definitely what helped me choose history.
Brilliant. So in order to get into teaching history, what did you have to do at uni? And then also, how was your uni experience? Because there's a lot of kids or young people that I know that want to go to uni to study things like history and English, but they're a bit nervous about going there. So what's your experience like?
So I went to University of Wolverhampton, and I decided to do history degree because I needed to get a C to get it. I got a C in history in A level. I found it really hard. The jump from GCSE to A level, I wasn't expecting it. And on top of that, I didn't work as hard as I know I should. So we have our free period study time. I wasn't necessarily studying. So if I was to go back, I would definitely do what I was supposed to be doing in my study time. And that would have helped me not find it so difficult. I went to Roehampton, and I was the only Black Caribbean person on the course. And then I remember walking in that period, looking at me thinking negative stuff about me. Not saying that I don't think there was, but it's just not me. And then obviously at the time I had a 4-month-old baby. I was 19. I was thinking, okay, when they find out I have a baby, I'm going to be thinking, oh, typical, But again, this is just, they're not saying that they thought that, but this is what I'm thinking people are thinking about me. But my uni lecturers were amazing. I loved them. They made me feel like I was at Oxford or Cambridge. They were literally outstanding, so supportive. One of them even said to me, oh, you can bring your child into, if you can't get your childcare, you can bring your child in. And I was just you're actually so cute, because I would never think of doing that. But the fact that you've offered just shows that you want me to be successful no matter what. So I definitely appreciated that. And my uni lecturers, they went over and beyond for me. And I ended up at first it was hard for me to kind of find friends at uni in my course, because I wasn't staying on campus. I was literally going to uni and going home, because obviously I had a baby. But naturally the minority stuck together. So the friends that I did find, had a Somali friend, had a Eritrean friend, and I had a friend that was from Pakistan as well. So we were literally the only people that were minorities in the class, and we all stuck together. Like, we ended up becoming really good friends, and they definitely helped me get through uni. But if I had a chance to go to another uni again, like if Oxford said to me, "Do you want to come to Oxford today, or do you want to go back to Roehampton?" I would definitely go to Roehampton, because I just felt supported there. I felt heard. So yeah, overall, I had a really good experience, and I would encourage everyone to go to university if that's what they want to do. And I had that feeling. I feel like most people do have that feeling when you're doing like a humanities subject or even English. You're like, okay, am I going to be the only black person in my class, or am I going to be the person of color in my class? And I just feel like, don't let that stop you from like pursuing your dreams. And yeah, so yeah, I would encourage it.
What you said was powerful, because I pretty much had a similar experience. So on my campus, I was like one of the only people of color that was doing English. So it's a bit scary when you're going to like lecture rooms and then you don't really see people that look like you. Don't let it stop you. You will find your kind of like support bubble or your support group, and if you enjoy the subject, then definitely keep doing it. So thank you for that. The next thing I want to say is, like, what is the best part, would you say, or what was the best part of studying history, would you say, or learning more about history?
I feel like the best part, probably learning about histories that I otherwise probably wouldn't have. So, for example, I've done a model on women, the history of women in Islam. And I was just like, I probably would have never come across this before. I looked at like the history of FGM. I've also looked at Latin American history and East African history. And these are histories that I probably would have never learned about if I hadn't gone to uni. And I think I just had a bit more freedom of deciding what I wanted to pick, what I wanted to learn, because obviously in secondary school, curriculum is picked for you. You just turn up, you know, you learn what is taught to you by your history department, for example. Which obviously because my history, not obviously, but unfortunately I would say, my history department at secondary school, there were no black history teachers. So not saying that you need black history teachers to make your curriculum representative or diverse, but I think it definitely does make a difference if you do have a black person in the department, because they can share their experience. So yeah, the curriculum just definitely wasn't diverse at all in secondary school. So when I got to uni, I was like, yes, I can, you know, pick a topic that I would love to pick, something to do with black history. So I think that was probably my favorite part about studying history at uni. So yeah.
So you've mentioned a lot of like the positives, which is good about studying history, but in your opinion, what was the hardest part, would you say?
To be honest, the hardest part was, I think I had expectations of studying, I think it was about the civil rights movement in America, or like something to do with black history in America. And I was really annoyed to find out that they took that course off. So like me and the other students, the friendship group that I made, we was really upset, because we was like, why is it, out of all the topics that you guys have, why is it that this topic that we really want to learn is not being not being promoted this year? Why is it not being taught this year? And like, it really made me upset, because I was just like, here we go again. Like, was this not important? Like, obviously, majority of students probably in the class, in the cohort, we didn't pick it, but it's important to us. But that was hard, like just realizing, and even that's not necessarily part of uni, but it's part of like growing up, like realizing what people say is not necessarily what's going to happen. And then apart from that, I would say my dissertation, that I think that's the first time where I felt like I was at university, because I was like, this is hard. The rest of uni, I was literally shocked, because I found A-levels really difficult. So when I went to uni, I was just like, oh, should I? But I thought, let me go. And like, if I find it difficult, I can always take a year out. Obviously, I had a child that was 4 months as well. And people were saying to me, don't go to university, take a year out, don't go. And I was like, no, I'm going to go. And if I find it difficult, I will pause, I will defer or whatever. But I'm going to at least try. So I think when I found it easier than expected. I was like, wow, like I can actually do this. It was manageable, and obviously it was only 3 days a week for a couple of hours a day. And because it was in London as well, I could go home, get there within an hour. So I found that easy, but it was only until I got dissertation I was like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. 10,000 words and the research, and I think that was definitely the hardest part about it. But again, my uni lecturers were amazing. Like, I can't thank them enough. I really can't thank them enough. And they really helped me push it, and I got my 2-1. So yeah, I was like, got there in the end.
You did. So like you mentioned about people basically kind of saying like they don't think you'd be able to manage it and do it. What advice would you give like young mums who have a lot of people saying that they can't do it? How could they like motivate themselves to balance it out?
I would just say have an end goal in mind. Like, why are you doing this? Like, what do you want to get out of this? And like keep that in your heart, like your purpose, your drive, as well as your child. Like, you want to better your child's life and to better your life. And if this is something that can help better both of your lives, then 100% do it. Give it a try. Like, if you're struggling, reach out. As I said, my uni lecturer is really supportive. You might have like family support groups or friendship support groups. Reach out to anybody. And also I would say like never give up. Like, I know it's easier said than done, but I literally feel like giving up should be the final resort. Like, even if you take a year out or 2 years out or whatever, go part-time, see if you can manage it. Just don't go straight to the, okay, I'm going to give up. Because that's what a lot of people want. They want to say, oh, see, I told you can do it, or say, I told you so. And like, just keep pushing. And keep going for it. And also as well, what I didn't know until I actually started university is that the university pays 85% of your childcare fees for your child.
Oh wow!
So, and childcare fees is just crazy out there. It's really ridiculous. But 85%. And my child was 4 months, and the younger your child is, the more expensive the fees are. They was paying like 85% literally from the jump. And also they give you, I think it's a carer's grant. So even if you're not caring for a child, but you have an adult dependent, they pay you, I think it's around, this is when I went anyway, around 1,300 or 1,000 something every term.
Okay.
So they do pay you like money for going to university, for having a dependent. There is a lot of support out there from the universities that I would say definitely take advantage of. And a lot of the universities have like support services, have helplines. They can even give you like reasonable adjustments, so like maybe extended deadlines, etc. So I would say the first kind of point shouldn't necessarily be to give up. That should be after you've tried everything else. And even if you feel like, okay, I have to give up, and some people might be in circumstances where they cannot continue, I would just say, like, don't fall down on yourself. Like, everything happens for a reason. If you feel like you have to give up, you can always go back like a couple of years later or when you're ready. So like, giving up doesn't mean you've completely failed. So yeah, that's true.
I'm actually glad that you mentioned that, because I actually didn't know that there was a grant or something to help out people that are dependent. So that's important. Is that all through student finance if someone was to apply for that? Or?
Yeah, it's through student finance. Also, I applied for lots of grants. So if you go on, I can't remember what it's called now, but if you Google like university grants, I think there was one called the Walcott Foundation that I applied to. There's lots of other grants out there that support people who are in university, and even if you're in college as well. I think even if you have a child and you're in college, they also pay you pay for childcare fees in college as well. So, like, again, there is a lot of support. You just have to kind of look for it, because they don't actually advertise it, which is sad. But yeah.
But at least it's good that people know that, like, they're not alone and there is things out there to support them. So that is good.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask as well, like, how did you manage to take time out for yourself? So, like, uni in itself is a complete different ballgame. Like, you need so much, like, concentration. It takes a lot of energy. And then on top of that, you're managing, like, looking after and caring for a child. Like, what did you do to take time out for yourself so you don't run out of energy and stuff?
To be honest, I'm kind of like a homebody anyway. So, like, I like to stay in my house.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that I didn't struggle with as much, because my downtime is literally sleeping or like watching Netflix or, chilling. But I definitely did go out to eat with my friends, go cinema, go here and there every now and again. And like a lot of my friends, they understand that that's the type of person I am. So it's not like, oh, every week let's go out.
Yeah.
And I think I appreciate that they understood that's the space that I needed. And like, yeah, I always used to like smash out essays at the last minute. So like, although you need a lot of concentration, a lot of time to prepare, I did, but I definitely a lot of the time I felt like I felt relaxed until like 2 days before the essay where I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get it done. And then like again, I would ask my mum or my sister or someone to help with my baby, my son, which they did. I was lucky enough to live with my mum and my sister and her son at the time. So like I had a lot of support in the house. So like I would say for me, although I didn't necessarily need to take much time out for myself, but I would say if you're in a situation where maybe you don't have support, there's a lot of like mother and baby groups, there's like children's centres where you can go and meet people. I personally don't really like meeting new people. In terms of like, I don't like going out of my way to make new friends. I just feel like the friends I have, they got me. But I think that's definitely the mindset I had when I was younger as well. I don't want to meet new people, especially because I was young mum, and they was like, yeah, go to these friendship, these little young mum groups. And I was just like, no, I don't want to be friends with them. Like, I don't like. And I think part of me was like, as I was saying earlier, I think part of me was judging them, which now I think I've stopped. I've helped, like being a young mum has helped me not judge people as much now, because everyone's situation is different. I don't know what people are going through. And obviously I felt judged as well. But I was even judging others. Like, I was like, I don't want to be like, I was like, I'm going to uni, I'm doing this. So I don't think a lot of them were doing that. So in a way, it kind of made me feel like, okay, I'm like trying to get as far away from that stereotype as possible. But at the same time, I was doing to others what people were doing to me, which like I feel like looking back now, I'm like, come on, like why would you do that? But I think now I'm 25, I definitely feel like I love meeting new people now, getting out of my house, and even at work, I'm like, oh hey, you're new here. Like I always try and make sure that any new staff feel supported.
That's good.
But I feel like if you are in a situation where you need somebody, you definitely try to reach out to these mum groups. Even like I made my son a little Instagram, and the parents on there, like it's like a little baby Instagram. The parents on there are amazing. Like you make friends, they meet up. So I would say definitely put yourself out there. And obviously that's low kind of maintenance because it's online. So you don't even have to leave your house. So if you like to talk to people online more than face to face, or not meeting new people online more than face to face, I'll definitely say like maybe make like a mama Instagram or something like that where you can reach out to and meet new people without actually having to leave your house. But yeah,
that's good. I think it's important what you said as well, because there are different types of people. Some people are homebodies, some people do like to stay at home, and then some people like to go out. So it's good advice that you've given for both. So thank you for that.
That's okay.
I wanted to ask you as well, did you have to think twice about like going to uni and like pursuing your career when you became a mother, or did becoming a mum drive you even more to like pursue your career and finish uni and stuff like that?
I feel like it was 50-50. People definitely like, no, do not go. Your child's going to be 4 months when you start. Just wait a couple of years until he gets older, etc., etc. So I was just like, no, like don't know what to do. If I'm going to try it, and if I can't, or if I'm struggling, I will take my time out, or then I will like, maybe go part time or something. But I feel like they didn't necessarily understand what support was out there, and like the university, like paying for childcare, those stuff. But they probably didn't know that there was actually that much support out there. But I think then there's also people that were saying, do you know what? Like you're mature, you know what you want, and whatever you put your mind to, you can do. So like do it. So I feel like I did have to think. I definitely thought twice. Like, okay, should I go now or should I wait a year? But I was just like, that's one more year. I've already taken a year out, because from sixth form to so after sixth form, that's when I got pregnant. Like literally, we finished sixth form in like June, and then by like October I was pregnant. So I took that year out, which everyone would have been like in the first year of uni. I took that year out. I was like, I don't want to wait another year. I just want to get going. And after the struggle that I felt during A level, I was so exhausted, and that year while I was pregnant, I was so grateful for it, because I could literally just relax and just just, you know, just rest.
Yeah.
But after a year, I was like, I want to be busy again. I want to be doing something again. I don't want to just be sitting down here. So I felt like it was the right time to do it, to go to uni. And like my first ever essay that I done at uni, I didn't get a great grade in that essay. Like I passed, but like I just passed. So I think I got like, is it like a third or whatever on that essay? And I was just like, oh, see, like everyone was right. I shouldn't have come to uni. Like, should I? But I just felt like, do you know what? This is just one essay. Like, wait, like maybe get feedback on the essay, see what you can do next time to improve. And then I had to remind myself, I haven't been doing any essays for over a year. Like, I've been at home pregnant for a year, so give myself some grace. Do you know what I mean? So the next essay, I was like, yeah, 2-1, 2-1, 2-2s first. So I was doing a lot better. Once I got into the right mindset of, no, you deserve to be here. Like, you need to be here for yourself. Like, you know, just don't give up so easily. So yeah.
Don't give up. It's true. Do you think like your mindset, like what is the mindset twist that happens like once you have a child, obviously? Because I feel like you've always been a bit mature, but for people who maybe they aren't there, what do you advise to them? Like,
okay, so I feel like the mindset, I think that definitely your experiences kind of help you change your mindset. I think before I even had a child, I wanted to go to university because I knew I wanted to be a teacher. And I feel like knowing what I wanted to do before coming pregnant definitely helped me get there straight away, because I still knew the steps I could take. But I think the mindset that I had was like, do you know what? I'm going to do this. Like, I kind of wanted to prove people wrong. Like, no matter what, I'm proving you wrong. I'm doing what you guys said I couldn't do. And then I was just like, I want to change my life. Like, I want social mobility. I want to move up, and I want to give my child the life that I didn't necessarily have. Not saying my life was, but I had the best life. Like, I was happy. I had a great childhood. But like, I just I want better for my child. I just feel like I should give my child better. My child should hopefully give his child better, etc., etc., etc. Until we're all billionaires. But you know, I just felt like I needed to do something. I don't know how to explain it. I think the experiences definitely drive you. And then I was just like, okay, so I've had a baby, but that shouldn't stop everything that I want to do. If people tell me about when you have a baby, if you can't, you know, your dreams are over, everything's over. I'm just like I'm literally like, it was just a prank. Like, when I had my child, I was like, it's just a prank, because everything you guys were telling me to try and scare me from having a child, like, I don't see it. Like, where is it? Because everything I couldn't do, I'm doing it, and I'm happy, and I'm you know what I mean? So I think that also helped with the mindset, because I found things quite easy. And obviously I know that's not everyone's experience, but for me, like, my boy was just so sweet. Like, for example, by 2 weeks, he was sleeping straight through the night. And I was just like, love this for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was a good baby. Like, he was just sweet. So I was just blessed to have I was blessed to have him as my son. So I think that definitely helped. And then I had the support. I think if people are telling you can't do it, give up, you know, encouraging you to do like negative things, then I think that definitely will impact your mindset. But I had a lot of people that were telling me, like, you can do this, you know, I can support you. If you want me to look after your son, I'll look after him, blah, blah, blah. So I think that just helped push the growth mindset. So I think to narrow it down, having a plan before I got pregnant, having a good support network, should I say, and then like having an end goal, like what am I doing this for? Like, what do I want to do this for? And yes, I've had a child, but I also have a life that I want to live as well. So
Brilliant. So like, delving more into the teaching side of it, what characteristics do you think makes a good teacher?
Okay, so I think the characteristics that you have to be a good teacher is, I think, number one, you have to care about what you're doing. I think if you don't care about teaching, it probably lasts 5 minutes, if that. Because if the passion isn't there, then I think the kids will smell it straight away, and it'll be difficult for them to, you know, open up to you or even want to try, or and I think it'll be difficult for you to like push through during difficult times. Also think you have to be understanding, because like a lot of these students are going through things that you'll never think of, and you need to understand that if someone comes in one day and they want to put their head on the table, don't just assume straight away that, oh, here we go again, it's Jimmy being naughty. it's not necessarily Jimmy being naughty. Jimmy could have just maybe experienced domestic violence all night, and he's come to school now terrified. So I think you have to definitely be understanding that with certain students and maybe approach them in a certain way. And that links also into the caring aspects. I think you have to be open-minded, because you come into contact with different parents, different students, different staff members, and especially in subject like history, I feel like anyone should be able to come to me and be like, Miss, can we learn about this? Miss, can we learn about that? And I'd be open to it, because history is not just like one view. Like, so I feel like everything that I can bring to the table will benefit everybody in that classroom. So anything that brings to the table, everyone will learn from it, everyone will benefit. And it creates space for debates, which I love. I love debate. So yes, I think definitely open-minded. I think you have to be confident, which is something that I definitely struggled with. And I feel like when I started teaching, I was confident, but I wasn't as confident as I am today. But I think the students definitely helped me to become more confident, because they have boosted me up so much. And they're like, Miss, you're such a great teacher, Miss. They're just so sweet. And I think I'm showing to them, like, okay, when I started this job, or even before I started this job, when I was in school, I didn't like putting my hand up, I didn't like speaking, I didn't like reading any of this stuff. But I was like, I want to be successful, I want to be a teacher, and I can't be confident. And I can't be a teacher without being confident. So I just need to kind of push myself out my comfort zone. Because when you're confident, it helps them to become confident as well. Like, especially telling them that story. Like, I never used to be like this. Like, you can also be like me in 2 years. You just have to kind of push yourself. I think also resilient is a big one, because there's like, I think with teaching, no day is the same. Like, you can't necessarily guarantee that you're going to come to work today and then tomorrow's going to be exactly the same. Like, it can be A and then next tomorrow will be Z. Like, do you know what I mean? So I feel like you have to be resilient and understand that there'll be ups, there'll be downs, but no matter what, the end goal of, you want these children to be successful and have amazing lives needs to stay the same. Like, that needs to be in the front of your mind at all times. I also feel like you need to be dedicated. You need to be dedicated to these students, and I think optimistic, because which I struggle with at times, because like when I was teaching my 11s, I'm like, guys, I've taught you this, like, what's going on? GCSEs is next week, but I'm like, do you know what, it's not too late, like, it's not too late, don't worry, even when they come out of the exam, I'm like, oh, miss, I think I messed up. Like, no, you didn't, it was great, like, like so I think definitely be optimistic, because that shows that they need to know that even when you feel like things are over for you, there's always that possibility. So I think those are the main characteristics.
I definitely agree. I feel like the characteristics that you described, we need a lot more teachers like that in schools today. Schools are lucky if they have teachers with those characters. What would you say is your personal teaching style?
So I would say I haven't really found my teacher styles yet. I feel like I'm still developing it. I'm still discovering it. I think because I've worked in a school that have like kind of 4-part lessons, you don't really have much freedom to kind of express yourself as a teacher to an extent. But that's something that I hope that the new school that I'm going to, I'll be able to find out more. I definitely love when students are buzzing, when they engage, when they're asking questions. I don't think it should be fully teacher-led, like me just talking about them. I think that just, but I definitely want a balance of teachers getting involved, students getting involved, writing work, obviously for written work, should I say, because in history, a lot of the exams are, all the exams, you have to like a lot of writing in the exams. So I think we should build on that, but in a fun way. It shouldn't necessarily be the same thing every lesson. Okay, every lesson writing a P paragraph. I think it should be like maybe different creative writing, or something that they can still benefit from for what they need for their exams, but something that also like boosts their creativity, gets them, curious, asking questions, because even in like year 9, they might not necessarily pick history for their GCSE, so they're like, oh, what's the point in doing this anyway? But it's like, well, okay, if you don't want to pick history for GCSEs, you're still going to benefit and gain something from this lesson that you can use maybe in geography or in whatever subjects you're going to pick. So I think I'm going for the more like fun side, but also the balance where there's definitely a lot of structure and a strong climate in the classroom as well.
I think I'm pretty much the same as you as well. Like I really do feel like interactive or like engaging.
Yeah,
Like kids learn when learning is fun.
fun,
So
100%. Yeah,
we need more of that. And then at the
yeah,
same time, as you said, like structure is important. So like when kids know not to cross certain boundaries or like
yeah,
there's fun and then there's also like seriousness within the classroom. That's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, do you think that like motherhood has helped you or prepared you to deal with like being in a classroom or working with a variety of different students?
I feel like to a tiny extent.
Yeah.
I don't think that being a mother makes me care more than those teachers who aren't parents. I think that I think the main thing that helps me deal with and teach students from like different backgrounds is that I'm coming from similar environments or situations as them. So I've worked in a school in like around Brixton, and obviously I grew up around that area as well. So I feel like I relate to them so much. And in ways, it's like I'm their big sister, or some of them are like, "Oh, you ran with our mom." I'm like, "Yeah, good. I should run your mom." So I feel like that is like more important for me. Obviously, as a parent, I want them to do the same way I would want my child to do well. I want all of them to do well. But I think majority of it is knowing that I came from similar situations to them, and I've been able to, come out of those situations, and therefore it means that they can also do that. Because I can know how transformative education can be, and I think that's the main thing that drives me. And I'm like, listen, like I'm serious, because if you guys do not do this, then XYZ might not be able to happen for you. Do you know what I mean? Like these opportunities gives you the keys that you need to open doors. And I think a lot of students have said to me like, "Oh my gosh, Miss, because it's coming from you, like I understand it more, I hear it more, it relates to me more." Which I'm like, I love that for you, but equally I'm like, anyone should be able to tell you this and you understand it. But I think it's important to have like teachers who are from all different areas, like different aspects of lives. But like, because when I went to school, for example, a lot of our teachers went to Oxford, like Cambridge, and I was just like, I love that for them, but that's never going to be me. So I didn't necessarily see and I remember when I told one of my history teachers in A-level, I was like, I didn't actually want to tell him that I want to be a history teacher, because I felt like he would have been like, laughed at me and would be like, "No, you're not going to be able to do it." So I felt like I wanted to be a teacher that I didn't have, like a teacher that was from my life in a way, like that walked the same steps that I would have walked and has been successful, because they need to see what it can be, and sometimes, but the only time really when I talk about me being a mum is like, listen, as a mother, like if I got a phone call saying my child was doing this, I'll be so annoyed and so angry. So you guys need to fix up, because like I know you guys don't want to be out here embarrassing your parents, because I know you guys are brought up well. So that's the only time I go into mother mode. But apart from that, it's literally like it's more of the caring, like it's more of the environment that I come from that drives me and helps me understand how to deal with the students that I work with. But also I'm going to a school with a completely different context to what I'm used to. But I definitely feel like I will be able to bring some of those aspects over, because there is a lot of disadvantage as well at the school that I'm going to. And a lot of like the students come to me with their pastoral issues, and I try to kind of go from a position of like a mother, a sister, or but also understanding, because a lot of them, they say, "Oh, my parents don't understand." My parents always say to me, "How can you be depressed? You're not paying no bills." And I'm just like, let me come from my perspective. So I'm like, I understand why mum could say that, because of X, Y, Z. They're from a certain generation, so and obviously. They're maybe trying to push it underneath the carpet, because maybe they don't want to say that their child is depressed. Because obviously as a parent, you wouldn't necessarily want your child to be depressed. You wouldn't want to feel that way. But I'm saying I understand where you're coming from. And although your parent may not see it, I understand that you can feel depressed. So I obviously want them to understand how their parents are feeling, because unless you're a parent, you don't necessarily know how parents feel. So like as a child, I was thinking, my mum doesn't understand me, but you don't understand how your mum's feeling as well. So I'm trying to come from both sides, but also that know that their feelings are valid, and that they're obviously they have support where they need it from me. So I think it has helped a bit.
I love that. Do you think that like schools need a lot more pastoral support for these students that are struggling with X, Y, and Z?
1,000%.
Yeah.
Pastoral support. I feel sorry for the people who are on call at my old school, because it's constant. It's all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I don't have any pastoral role, but I've been told many times that you'll be amazing at pastoral. You should become a head of year. The kids always say, "Miss, I wish she's my head of year. I wish she's the head teacher." So, like, I think I would be good at pastoral, but I think for my own like sanity, I really wouldn't have been able to be a head of year or have any pastoral role at my old school, because it was just so overwhelming. And I wouldn't be able to teach history effectively, because obviously I'm so new in my career. I've only been teaching for about 3 years now. So I wanna master history before I move on to anything else. But I feel like I always get kind of drawn into being that safe space, which I love. Like, I would 100% say, come talk to me anytime you need. But taking on that actual role as your head of year or your this pastoral, I feel like at the time of my career, it probably wouldn't be the best for me. But I definitely feel like they need to get support from somewhere, because a lot of students are suffering. A lot of students don't have anyone to talk to. And a lot of the pastoral roles that are there, they're overwhelmed. They're doing so much other stuff as well.
That's true.
So, yeah.
So sad, but it's true. I definitely agree. They need a lot more TLC. I think 100%. Young people as well, they go through a lot more than, as you said, like sometimes kids will come in and they'll be labelled as like a problem child or this and that, but then you delve a bit deeper and stuff going on at home, or
exactly.
You know what I mean? So in your experience so far, what's the best part of being a teacher, and what's also the best part of being a mum?
I think the best part of being a teacher, I think it's definitely, for me, it's definitely being able to inspire others. And like my favorite quote I always say is, be the change that you want to see in the world. And I feel like as a history teacher, I am being that change that I've always wanted to see. So my last day, a lot, like one of my students said to me, she was crying, she was like, "Miss, like, I don't just see you as a teacher, I see you as somebody that looks like me." And I'd never had that before. And I was so happy when I got you in year 8. And I was just like, this is why I got into this job. This is why I got into this job, because I was like, I didn't have anyone that looked like me. I didn't have anyone. I didn't have a black woman as my history teacher. Even a black man. I didn't have anyone that looked like anyone in my family as my in the subjects that I loved. So I didn't necessarily see myself fitting in those spaces. So I was like, I want you guys to be inspired. I want you guys to know that anything is possible. And you know, like, we need more black teachers or even like any teachers of color, LGBT teachers. We need more of these teachers in these spaces, because otherwise narrative won't change. So like literally, so for me, it's literally inspiring others. And another student of mine said, she's been saying for a long time, I kind of want to be a teacher. I'm like, listen, you'll be an amazing teacher. You'll be amazing at anything you put your mind to. And then on the last day, I got an email. She said, "Miss, I've decided I'm going to be a history teacher. I'm going to be a teacher because you've been a teacher that I've needed, and I want to do the same for other students like me when growing up." So I just was like, wow, like, I love that in that short space of time, I was able to make an impact. And I think that's literally the best thing about teaching. And on top of that, the kids are amazing. I love working with young people. They boost you up. Like, no one can tell me that I'm not Beyonce, because those kids will, do you know what I mean? Like, they literally be calling me Queen Bee. And they tell me, like, the stuff that I doubt about myself, they're like, "No, Miss, like, you're amazing. Like, why? Like, how can you not see that?" And even with my things that I see as like faults. So, for example, my spelling from dyslexic is like, it's not great at all. Because sometimes when I'm writing on the board, I'm like, "Oh gosh, how do you spell that?" Like, I'm like, "Guys, how do I spell that?" They're like, "Miss, it's this A B da, 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 da." If I do spell a word wrong, they're not like, "Miss, you spelled that wrong. Like, how can you spell that wrong?" They're like another child will be like, "Oh, is that how you spell it?" And then another child will be like, "Oh no, it's spelled like this." Like, they don't make me feel like I'm like, you know, they don't make me feel like I have any like disadvantages with teaching them. Like, they really support me. So it's not just one way. Like, they build me up, and I hope that I build them up as well. So I think that's definitely the best thing about teaching. And then the best thing about being a mum is, I just feel like growing up with my bestie. Like, the love is literally like best friends. Like, he's so sweet. And
Yeah.
the love is like something that you can never experience. Really, it's so unconditional, and it's just really just seeing a life grow and develop,
Yeah.
and you're having a huge impact on that. And like, for example, my last day, I was taking out all my cards, and then my son wrote me, like, he wrote on a piece of paper, he wrote, "Good job. I am proud of you." Then drew a picture. I was like, this is so cute. Like, what is wrong with you? Why are you so cute? Like, seriously. So yeah, I think, I don't know how, I can't even put it into words. But I love being a parent. I love being a mum. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's very beautiful. I'm actually so happy for you. That's so nice. I think like the final question I want to ask you is like, it's a two-parter. So like, what are your career goals, and do you want to climb up the ranks in whatever school you go to?
I would say I definitely want to climb up the ranks. I would love to become head of history within the next couple of years. So maybe 2 to 3 years. And to be honest, I would love to become head of year, but I think at the right school and with the right support. So some pastoral, but that would only be once I've kind of mastered teaching history in a way. And then I'm not 100% sure if I want to be a head teacher. And the reason why that is because, number one, I don't want to be SLT because, like, obviously I've only had experience at one school, but being SLT looks overwhelming. Like, everyone looks tired, they look sad, they look overworked. They come in really early, leave really late. And obviously because I have a child and I want to like expand my family, I'm not sure if that's the best move for me. Because although I love teaching, I don't want my family or my home life to be impacted negatively from it, because at the end of the day, like, I feel like family is the most important. But I think I definitely would like to stay in education 100%. So whether that is reached becoming a head teacher, don't know. But I think if I was to become a head teacher, I would be a very controversial head teacher, because, like, if you want to come in pink hair, you do that. But as soon as you reach into the lesson, I don't want to hear a peep, because like the behaviour system will be so strong, because you'll be able to get away with stuff that you wouldn't necessarily be able to get away with in other schools. But it just comes down to what I believe the main purpose of education is. Will pink hair stop you from learning about the Battle of Hastings? No, it probably won't. So you can wear that pink hair. Like, as long as you come in, you get your education, and you leave and become successful, that's enough for me. But yeah, I think I would definitely want to stay in teaching. But I'm not sure like what route I want to take.
Well, I'm excited. Whatever venture you decide to go in, I know that you'll do really well as a teacher.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, I wanted to say thank you for coming on today. Like, you shared a lot of wisdom and you've given a lot of useful like information, some of which I hadn't even heard before. So thank you again for coming on the podcast.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for having me. I've had a really good time having a nice old chit chat with you. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.